In this video, I'll be showing you how you can layer music on top of one another using Logic Pro. I'll be showing you how you can create new tracks, how you can mute and solo those tracks, and I'll also show you how you can loop a specific area of a Logic project. So quite a lot to go through, but we'll steadily go through it all. Now I'll be layering quite a lot of tracks with a range of different instruments, just so you can see how the whole process works. I'm going to mostly be using the orchestral sounds, but the whole concept and idea of what I'm doing is like the same for any instrument sound or beat that you want to put in. So I've started off with the piano here. I've set my tempo and metronome just like I showed you how to do in the previous two videos. So we're gonna just add a bit of piano here. Now I'm going to add something else on top of this. So to do that, I'll go over to the plus sign to create a new track. And there it is. And I'm going to go for a bit of percussion on this one. And whilst I record the percussion, I'm going to mute the piano that I've recorded so I can focus on this one. So to mute a track, you go up to where you see the M. You can also press M on and off on your keyboard, as long as the track's highlighted. Now the S next to the M means you can solo the track, so that means it will play by itself. You can solo multiple tracks at any one time as well. So for example, later on when I've got multiple string parts going on, I could solo that whole string section if I wanted to. The key command for that is S as well. So if you press S, you can turn it on and off. So sometimes it's good to leave the other tracks playing so you can vibe off what's already been put down. But for now, I'm just going to record this next part on its own. I reckon I'll play most things on their own just so you can see how each part sounds by itself. And then you'll see what happens when we put it all together at the end. Now I'm going to add some string parts. I'll start off with some cello. Obviously not as good as the real thing. Hopefully I'm not butchering like some of these instruments. So I'm going to go for some full strings next. forgive any errors in timing or velocity. I'll actually show you how you can fix some of those things in the next video or two. But for now, we're just going to continue. So the next thing I want to record is with the same instrument, actually, full strings, the same patch. So instead of creating a new track for this one, I'm going to just create a copy. So to do that, I click this button up here. And that essentially just copy and pastes the settings from the previous track onto the new one. So let's record this next thing here. Okay, on to the next one. I'm going to add some violas here. So I'm going to add 3 more instruments on top of this, but maybe this is a good time to do a little bit of a volume mix, so you can kind of see how that works. So let's just go and unmute everything here first of all. And if you didn't work it out already, this slider here controls the volume for each particular track. So everything is set at 0.0 dB at the moment. I'm not going to go into why that is at this point, but that's just sort of the default level you have when you go to record a new track. You usually want to keep a bit of headroom there in the track. So I'll just kind of show you how that works. Now, one of the things that you want to be looking out for is you want to make sure that your instrument isn't so loud that it's clipping. So when it starts to clip, it starts to distort. So when the signal hits 0.0 dB or higher, that means that it's clipping. And it's happened there. So I'm just going to take that down. Okay, now I'm going to gradually build in the instruments, and I'll be doing a sort of quick volume mix. And as I do that, you'll see how all these layers that I've independently recorded, how they start to work together. So to start off, I'm just going to begin by bringing the piano down a little bit. Because once everything else is in, the overall sound is going to be probably quite high. Also, something you can do is you can change the names here. I'll just rename that. Okay, so I'm going to add 3 more things here. I'm going to add a sort of plucked, synthesized lead sound first of all, and then 2 French horn parts to finish. Now that sound's coming in quite hot, so I'm just going to take that down. Okay, now for the final 2 parts. Just a quick one as well. If you press Y on your keyboard, that's just a really quick way of opening and closing the library. And that's all of our sounds. So that's how you layer sound, specifically MIDI, into Logic. So starting off with the piano, building it up with the percussion, string section, French horns, and I'm going to play at you in a minute altogether. I'm just going to do something very quickly now. I'll explain what I'm doing in the next couple of videos, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to quickly whiz through this. I'm just essentially getting this ready for the loop that I'm going to put in. As you can see, I haven't hit some of those notes exactly on the beat. But for the loop, it needs to be right on the beat. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to loop a section in Logic. So the way that you do that is you go up to the top here, you get this little yellow gold bar, and you drag it into the section that you want to loop. Oops, just need to go back on the piano and see what I did to the other tracks. Then when you press play, it will start from the start of that loop. And then when it gets to the end, it will just loop back on itself. So now I'm just going to go through everything and gradually build in all the other instruments. you can see how they all fit together. And that's our opening track. So we built everything else around that. And I can't stress enough the importance of recording to a metronome, especially with this track with these long piano hits. Even though it probably sounded quite annoying if you watched the video all the way through, I hope it went to show how key it was to getting this right.